Hey guys, welcome to the finale of Chasing You for Better or for Worse. I don't know if I have enough points for this or that, and so I'm nervous. I'm nervous. I don't know what's gonna go down. Let's just do it. Your friends and your reason tell you that it's over, but your heart pounds with the foreboding. Okay. I'm so nervous. I don't know what to expect, and there's 3 episodes though. Should we do them all in this video? I don't know. Chapter 9, New Year. Still shaken from the incident in the barn, you ran down the corridor as fast as you could. Slow down, Beauty. We are on fire. You instantly picture the burning mansion in place of the hotel. That's not good. Oh no. No way am I letting this chapter of my life end like this. Oh, guys, you're already here. You look like you've seen a ghost. Is everything alright? Not really. Is everyone gathered already? Yes, they're just waiting for you. Let's go, then. I'll tell everyone at the same time. Sitting on Sam's lap, you listen to the guy's report. You felt the warmth of his body on your back while his fingers struck behind your ears. And we found a neat ice cave. If we have time, we could go there on an excursion. In short, your result is no better than ours. Melody, what about you? You exchanged glances with Elia inside. Something happened again. I should have gone with you. Something always happens with you around. At least our investigation wouldn't have been boring. You can take my luck then. I won't miss it. You started telling everyone about the house on the mountain and the mysterious photographer. Path of logic. And I'd love to know who it was. Any suggestions? Well, logically speaking, it could have been one of the guests, one of the hotel employees, a villager. So, there's 2 different versions of that person in the mask. There's the one with the yellow belt and one with the blue belt. I think I showed you guys last time. So I'm gonna go with the employees here. I don't trust them, and it sounds like the guy who runs this place, he doesn't look heavily into anything that's going on, really. He's just kind of like chilling out. He doesn't really whatever. So it would be very easy to work for this hotel, even if you don't have good credentials. If there are almost no guests left, and the village is pretty far away, it could have been an employee. That makes sense. Do you think Charles might have had an accomplice? I definitely know that there's 2 different versions of that person. I don't know. I didn't like that girl in the fox mask. Alexander squinted at the window, fidgeting with his cup. I have to check the cameras at the exit and at the reception. Maybe we'll find something? You should also ask Yuma who's on shift today. What if Yuma is the accomplice? Then you can bury me right now, because we won't make it within the year. How about we stop? We stop with these suggestions. There are too many maybes and probablys. This needs to be clarified, but tomorrow. For today, we'll get ready and go on holiday in the village. What? Are you serious? What if it's still dangerous? There'll be a crowd of people. Not a large one, but still. Alright. It's important to be around people or next to friends. And also, he'll lean back, rummaging his backpack. Walkie-talkie. We'll be in touch. Wow, where'd you get these? Yuma gave them to me. Said the police distributed them to those in need. The hotel also got them. So anybody could listen to the frequency? Okay. They're already configured. You just need to turn them on, press the button here, and we should probably reconfigure them. Hello? Can you hear me? Sam's voice sounded from the backpack in 5 different wrestling variations. You won't get lost for sure. Alright, you convinced me. Let's go celebrate then? Sam's face lit up with joy. Actually, we need to celebrate the new year uneventfully. Everyone's sitting around watching TV, and at midnight we go to the temple to pray, then eat and go to sleep. Sure sounds exciting. I'm glad to be celebrating with you. It won't be boring, at least. You grinned, putting away the walkie-talkie, and Rachel stood up. The girls need to get dressed. Before? I don't know. It's New Year's. We're in Japan. Everyone should look beautiful. I got you guys covered, too. Your stuff's in the other room. Having exchanged glances, the boys went out into the corridor. In the meantime, Rachel followed them out and a couple of minutes later returned with an armful of incomprehensible fabrics. Alright. Gosh, Rachel, what? We're gonna freeze in them. Please try them on, I beg you. They're as warm as a fur coat. You won't even feel the cold. Eva's already looking through the pile, sticking out her lower lip in surprise. Plus, it'll make you look your best when we... She stopped in mid-sentence to open her eyes wide while pressing her lips together tightly. Huh? Nothing. Forget what I just said. That was supposed to be a surprise, right? What surprise? Are we talking about proposals? That would be nice, but it's a little early for that. Come on, I'll help you get dressed. Ooh. Oh, that's so pretty. Okay, technically I like this one the best, but if this one is 100 gems, I'm wondering, does it come with points? Because we did have the expensive room fiasco in the beginning where it didn't come with points, so I could be wasting my gems. But if it does come with points, we need all the points that we can get. So, cross your finger, does it come with points? The fabric was not just warm, you almost instantly started sweating. Yes! Points. Rachel stood looking at you, mesmerized. Intuition too. That's amazing. It looked divine in the shop, but now that it's actually on you. And authority. Okay. That's still a lot. But still. Your cheeks flushed red, either from the heat or from embarrassment. You wanted to move with your entire body. I feel like a little like a geisha. I don't know. So graceful. How do I look? You look cute. It suits you very well. You look really good too. Right? You have great taste. That's true. Alright, ladies, now I also need to get ready and then we can go get the boys. Okay. Oh, I can't change my hair now. Oh, well. You walked out of the room with an imposing gait, clearly intended to show off to Elia. Rachel rushed out after her for some reason. You got distracted by a book lying on the table. Sam knocked politely before entering. I went to pick up... Oh. I'm having both deja vu and jamais vu at the same time. You're so familiar and also not. His fingers tucked your cheek right under your ear. Do you know what I just remembered about that night in Valencia? You smelled of salt and algae, seen heated up during the day in wet pier boards. Oh, the time we nearly drowned? The man wrinkled his nose, amused and annoyed at the same time. That's all you remember about that wonderful time? You laughed. What? When did they go here? The wind was cool, but the water washing over your feet was warm. Sam remembers that day fondly. You took a deep breath. Don't go too deep, it's very easy to lose your bearings. God, she's so hot. I'll be fine. You relied too much on your skills, and at night the sea is much more dangerous than you think. Bored. How did I miss this vacation? Unexpectedly, even bursting out laughing, you pressed your heels into the sand and dove into the black seawater. The water boiled, turbid, and burst into bright iridescent clouds. Oh, look, Sam, look! He was already by your side, moving his strong arms to the surrounding plankton. In response, the plankton lit up and stuck to his hands, making the contours of his body seem unearthly, blurry. It's so beautiful, Sam. It's almost like you're on fire. He swam closer to you and sprayed water upward, shooting blue drops of the seawater fire into the sky. You looked up, eager to capture the sight of blue flames mixed with pulsating stars. Your heart was squeezing sweetly and your chest was tight. Sam's fingers intertwined with yours. He shook your hand gently. You're the most beautiful girl I've ever seen in my life. You turned your face to him and, surrounded by light, clung to him with your whole body. It was so good to kiss him, to slide your wet palms over his wet shoulders. The waves licked your side, and Sam stood firmly with his feet at the bottom, holding you in place. Sinking into the water almost up to your nose, you pushed off the bottom with your toes and put your legs around Sam's waist. He grabbed you under the buttocks with one hand and slightly squeezed the flesh under the elastic material. Sam, are you flirting with me? Yes, I am. He pressed his hips between your legs and you felt how hard his groin had become. Your legs clenched even tighter. Sam didn't need any other hints. Putting his arms around your waist, he reached out and briefly bit your earlobe. You gasped in surprise and you took a step deeper into the water and loosened his embrace. Your body, unexpectedly light, leaned back, lying almost horizontally. The stars arched towards you, flickered, talking amongst themselves. Sam's touches melted in the water, almost merging with the sensations from the gentle beating of waves. It felt like the whole sea was caressing you, licking you with short strokes, tickling your chest, which was above the water. Sam pulled the string, taking off your top, your nipples beaded up, caressed by the cool wind. You shivered, exhaled. The tenderness of these caresses caught your breath. The viscous, heat in the lower abdomen made you rub your hips impatiently against his crotch. The silence was disturbed only by your breathing. He entered you slowly with gentle, short thrust, and you wanted, to refer. No, that's fine. With your arms outstretched, you let him do whatever he wanted. You held your breath, your body floated even higher, swaying in rhythm with Sam's movements. Your hair got wet and started to pull your head down. You started feeling dizzy. The sensations below became even brighter, even more voluminous. One hand was supporting your body afloat, while the other, Sam caressed the delicate skin of your thighs, touching your lips with his fingers, stroking your crotch. You couldn't concentrate on any one spot. The sea became an extension of his hands, and it seemed that he caressed your every cell, outside and inside. Blue light rolled out in waves from you, like blood spreading in water. You exhaled sharply when his fingers pressed just below the crotch. You almost sank to the bottom, suddenly petrified with convulsive tremors. Unresponsive fingers grasped for support, and you would have gone down if they hadn't found Sam's shoulders. You squeezed them, leaving deep scratches. You arched your back, gasping for air. Orgasm was as soft and viscous as all the caresses before were. Your body was alternating between being stretched into a tense thread and going limp, wave after wave. Your muscles were throbbing. Sam groaned dully, hiding his face in your neck. Finally, in your thoughts, there was only sweet emptiness in the stars above. You were breathing heavily, trying not to go under the water. Without a word, Sam grabbed you in his arms and walked back, leaving a path of blue light behind him. It was pretty. You pressed your nose against his neck, finishing the story of your memories. Sam's breathing was as heavy as it had been in your memory. He smiled. I almost died of affection for you that day. And I thought we were going to drown out there. You lying? That's not what you were thinking about. You playfully wrinkled your nose as though angry that he caught you lying. You're right. I wasn't thinking about anything then. I was just happy. He pressed his lips to the back of your head, and for a while you stood like that, just enjoying your closeness. Finally, Sam sighed. We have to go. I don't think that's probably going to be like one of the last happy moments. Like, we might have a few more, but shit's about to hit the fan. He nodded and, reluctantly getting out of the embrace, took his hand and went to the door. Oh no, I missed it. That works fine too. Come by. Come by. She's drunk as hell. Cheers. Come by. Come by. You raised the glass into the air, also shouting out a joyful, oh, okay. They decided to put my little hat on. It doesn't really match, but that's fine. Come by. The hot drink sent tingles through your chest. You exhaled a thick cloud of steam. Can you stop with that? I'm about to put my phone on, like, mute. How cold is it right here right now? Grabbing Rachel by the arms, you started to dance, despite the kimono making it somewhat difficult. Alexander raised the walkie-talkie to his lips and muttered rapidly. Sushi, we have a problem, I repeat. We have a problem. The target has gone completely crazy. Sushi, sushi. The rest of the radio is hissed indistinctly, swallowing most of what it was said. I'm gonna hit you. Without stopping jumping, you shouted into the air. You are my favorite people, are unbearable fools, broke the walkie-talkies. My favorite people. You're kind to your friends. Sam smiled broadly. Alexander acted like it was natural. Even Eli just continued to watch your crazy dance. I can't believe they're really celebrating the new year. Me too, but apart from that, everything is as it should be. Look at the queue to the temple. Breathing heavily, you and Rachel leaned against each other and looked in the direction he indicated. We're not going to the temple anymore, are we? Tomorrow morning. If you want, we can go once more. That's enough for today. You came closer and you, and out of excess of feelings, pulled him into your company with Rachel. Lively music and a crowd of cheerful people and holiday lights. And with effort, you threw out everything bad and unnecessary from your head. Today we'll have fun. I'll think about the bad again tomorrow. Fixing his gaze on you, Alexander took out his phone. Hold on, stand there. More photos. Do you want to take a picture? Yeah, we gotta fill up the in screen. You got into a pose, smiled broadly, and suddenly stumbled on a sled rushing by and knocked you and Rachel off your feet. Almost falling. Grabbing each other, you somehow regained your balance. Laughing and brushing off the hem of your kimono, you immediately huddled around Alexander. I want a different photo, and I want this one. I will print it out and take it out when I feel sad. Somehow I'm not good in pictures lately. No, you look cute. Have you seen my face? Rachel suddenly perked up and started glancing somewhere to the side. Sam raised his eyebrows and signaled with a glance to Alexander. He arched an eyebrow, then remembered something and quickly nodded. What's going on? We'll back off for a second. Wait for us here with the lion Eve. I'm with you. I'll protect the beauty. Hey, what's happening? Trust us, you'll like it. What's going on? They went somewhere further along into the square and disappeared from sight. Eve again took a sip, dancing a little in place. You get cold so easily. What can I say? Let's go get some more drinks. I'll go to the toilet and get back in a jiffy. Will you be in line for drinks? Oh no. I'll come with you. Yes, please do. God, you don't assume that someone's waiting for me in the ladies' room? They could be! Well, okay, just don't take too long. Oh no! Oh no, you're the one you said yourself that you don't trust it. Oh my gosh, she put the danger too far out of her mind. This is it, guys. Okay, I'll be back soon. No, you won't. No, you will not. I don't trust her for a second. This is it. We're busted. Coming back to the square, you stopped in confusion. So, were the drinks on the right? While you were thinking, the radio hissed and Sam's voice came through. Hill. What? Repeat, I can't hear anything. House on the hill. House on the hill, the one we found today? The radio hissed some more and switched off. You blinked in bewilderment. The radio came to life again, but now only hissing was heard from it. I'll try again, this is strange. I'll go look. I'm gonna go look. You decisively headed to the left. Ten minutes later, you realize that you don't see any of them. Did they have a surprise for me at the house on the hill? Maybe they found something there? Something to answer all my questions? You bit a lip, then decisively attached the radio to your belt and moved deeper into the village. Uh-oh. You climbed pretty quickly, but halfway through the snow started to fall. It was intensifying with every second. The wind also decided it was time to start. You have already begun to doubt your decision. On the other hand, it's twice as fast to get to the house from here as to the village. If I'm wrong, I'll go back. If not, I'll save us a lot of time. Oh god. You took out the radio again and tried to contact the guys. Hey, can anyone hear me? Come. He's saying don't come. Got it. No, you don't got it. He's saying don't come. Taking the already frozen kimono hymn in your hands, you walked forward. Oh no. By the time you got to the house, I knew we shouldn't trust these walkie-talkies. Don't they have cell phones? Well, there's no reception up here. Oh, God. By the time you got to the house, a blizzard was already blowing over the treetops. For once, they've actually answered that question. Oh, no. Good thing I didn't turn back. I would have been caught in it halfway down the road. With difficulty walking towards the icy wind, you saw the light in the window of the house. Seeing it calmed you down, so they were waiting for you there. I'm sure they are waiting for you, but not who you think. The door was unlocked. You opened it and tumbled into a semi-dark corridor. And the next second, the light in the corridor went out. Or did it? It went out before your eyes. It's the same stuff that was in the barn. Consciousness returning reluctantly. It was clearly more comfortable outside your body. The smells came back first. An unpleasant, sugary sweet smell filled your nostrils. Oh, we chloroformed. You were definitely sitting, tightly pressed against a chair. Nothing seemed to hurt, but your body was numb almost to the point of pain. How long have I been sitting here? You couldn't feel your swollen fingers at all. Raising your eyes from them, you looked around the room with a dull, still half-conscious look. A dark silhouette at the far end of it. I stood up and silently walked towards you. Ugh, that rug is disgusting. Okay, we need one more photo, but who knows if we'll get it before we die. Okay. I'm concerned. We have 53 logic points. We're at 25 intuition. Maybe that's too much. That's almost half. Oh. I think I goofed, guys. I mean, I'm planning on replaying the story a bunch anyway, so if I get the bad ending, I'm already thinking I'm gonna get a bad ending. If I get a bad ending, okay. I might not get a perfect ending. I'm gonna try to get an ending with Sam, and I'm gonna replay again to get a better perfect ending. Because I am gonna get a perfect ending, no matter what, okay? Like I did with Shadow Saint 4, I will get a perfect ending, okay? I've still been trying to figure out how to get, oh, as you can see, it just freaking crashed when I tried to watch an ad. I've been still trying to get figure out how to, what I consider a perfect ending in Heaven's Secret. That one is just tough. That one's just tough. Episode 10. Tonight your enemy, try walking on Mel in his shoes. Alright. Try walking a mile in his shoes. What does that mean? Are we gonna like sit and like get to know? Chapter 10, it hurts so much. That doesn't sound good. I've been sitting here. Just swollen fingers. Still looked around. Talks towards you. No. Gosh, no. Why do I never learn? Your lips started aching from the increased breathing. The man squatted down in front of the chair and tilted his head to the right. Gag me. Seriously? Like, shoot my head off. Like, him? Like, I expected it. I'm still disappointed. So can it not be like at least one person who has a good reason for doing this? Like at least one. Like I don't get it. Like, because we specifically chose actions that helped his father. And it's not our fault he lost his job. Okay? I guess the only thing you could really say is that we supposedly hid the inheritance, but like, we actually did give the inheritance up. Like, we don't have an inheritance. Okay? So it's like, there's nothing, I guess you could say we took the inheritance away from him, I suppose. But like, this is still lame. Like, I can't. Fine, okay. They said we'll get to know him, so maybe something will make sense by the time we go. So we'll see. Hi. Something filled your mouth and instantly dried up. You tried to swallow. Dylan, why are you here? Are you surprised? You had to know. No, I'm not surprised. You had to know I was gonna be here, right? Unfortunately. You slowly shook your head or nodded. No. It's a pity. It's very stupid of you to come here. You couldn't help nodding back, but you came anyway. My disappearance will quickly be noticed. They'll find me. I need to stall for time. You do realize that. Coming to look for me, that's not stalling for time. I guess stalling kind of appeals to his logic, maybe. That's more stall tactics. Dylan thought for a moment, then nodded. I do. And that's it? That's it? Irritation rose from within you like a tickling wave, but it was soon stopped by fear. Dylan looked at you like a hunter measuring up his prey. Don't worry, we haven't even started yet. Everything should be according to the rules. Rules? What rules? You should know by now. Do you know? No, bitch! Overcoming internal resistance, you shook your head. Well, don't worry. I'll tell you everything. Everything will be done properly and in order. The air conditioner was blowing at his neck. It was impossible to stand and look at the table. Play from Dylan's point of view? I did mention that I wanted to play a little like from the killer's point of view, but I want to do that while leading up to the crime. And like, but like now we know who it is, so it's like less fun because there's no more like we're not gathering clues or anything like that. And besides, I think he's stupid. So, you know what? Let's see what he has to say. So the people dilates when we see something unpleasant. In that case, Dylan's people should have been the size of a pinhead. Come on, let's go. Exhaling slowly, Dylan spun the roulette wheel. The player buried his fingers in the pile of scattered chips, and the croupier twitched. Why are you twitching? Come on, even reds. Let's go, let's go. Arrange the chips, please. What? Arrange the chips in columns, please. God. Black circles appeared in the dealer's eyes. The ball was rolling around the roulette, rolling, humming. Yes, ooh, mine, baby. I just guessed it. I got it right. With delight at the table with both fists, the chips scattered into even more sloppy heaps. Dylan couldn't breathe. Unable to push air out of his lungs, he wheezed. Collect the goddamn chips. What did you say? A second later, Dylan rolled over the table, grabbed the guy by the chest, and with all of his might slammed the player's face on the table. The damn chips need to stand in columns. Player swore, trying to push the dealer away. Strong hands grabbed Dylan across his chest. Elia threw him to the floor, and he shouted as well when Dylan's foot scraped against his knee. What the devil? Breathing heavily, Dylan said, he didn't arrange the chips. Didn't arrange. Are you out of your mind? If you completely lost Dylan, the second fight this month. He didn't listen to me. He didn't arrange the chips. Dylan, get the hell out of here. Out. You're fired. The player whimpered, placing the back of his hand on his bleeding nose. You're a lying little shit, just like your aunt. Now get out of here. The door slammed, stunning him for several seconds. Walking around the room, Dylan stopped next to the couch. Oh my god. He knelt and looked down. There was a box and he knew what was inside. His hands ached and itched. But Father forbade. Father said it was against the rules, that this was not the way. Dylan jumped up and circled the room like a snow leopard locked in a cage. Then he collapsed by the fireplace and knelt down. He folded his hands and began to pray, and he swore softly. Let's go for praying. You need some help. Goodness is still in Dylan's soul. Is it? I know I haven't prayed in a long time. I know I was a bad believer, but can Dad get well, please? The floor was cold on the knees. Edgar was smiling from the photograph, and in it, his eyes were still open and shining with happiness. Dylan's whole body shook as he gripped his palms together more tightly. Tears started dripping onto the floor. But nobody answered him. The headlight scratched the ceiling, reaching down, looking for signs of life. Dylan slowly twisted the blade between his fingers, dangerously clinging to the skin with the tip. The headlights painted its edge with a beautiful yellow sheen. Come out. I know that you're there. After waiting for a half a minute, Elia banged on the door again. Come out, Dylan. I'll kick the door down and get you out of there. The former dealer didn't get up right away. He got up on one knee, then on the other. The heated floor by the fireplace immediately began to cool down. Dylan's knees ached from the cold and from not moving. Staggering, the man went to the door. He opened it. Elias swore under his breath. You look lousy. The man silently shrugged his shoulders. He dropped the blade out of the door, where Elia would not see it. Come on, let's go. You won't make it on foot, in that state at least. He wrinkled his nose a little, and Dylan remembered that the last shower he took was 3 days ago. Hesitating, he grabbed the edge of the door. Maybe he should close it? I haven't stopped being your friend, and you would know that if you picked up the phone. When you come back to your senses, you can get back to work. Don't worry about money. I'll pay your salary. Dylan looked away and stared at the car. The headlights were turned towards the house, and it was blinding, like a lamp in an interrogation room. Dylan's knees ached again, threatening to pay back for neglect. Bowing his head, Dylan went to the car. Wait a second. Oh, I remember her. Yes, Dr. Rant. There are visitors for Edgar Boston. A son and a friend? A friend. I understand, yes, thank you. Yes, I will warn them, thank you. Hanging up the phone, the receptionist frowned. He's still in serious condition, but you can visit him. Trying to make a noise or revive him. We'll always follow the instructions. Anything can happen, we still need to give the warning. She glanced uneasily at Dana and leaned over to Elia. You can stay here at night. That's the right of the relatives of palliative patients. Didn't react. Either he didn't understand the penultimate word, or he didn't want to react at all. Do you remember how to find the ward? Yes, thanks. We'll try not to get lost. Sitting down by the bed, Dylan reverently touched his father's hand. A chain with a cross wrapped around his father's limp wrist swayed when Dylan raised his palm and pressed his lips to it. The lights were blinking, their faint light illuminating the kneeling young man. The oxygen machine hissed rhythmically, pumping air into Edgar's lungs. The long shadow from the window frame lay on Dylan's back and on the bed. After awkwardly standing at the foot of the bed for a bit, Elia carefully asked, Should I stay? Dylan silently, well, if you're giving me a choice, you need a friend. Let's face his friend and not push him away. Reassured, Elias settled into a chair against the wall and started watching Dylan. Minutes passed. Dylan didn't move and didn't seem to even breathe. The lights were blinking. The oxygen machine hissed. Dylan. Elia kept looking. The lights, Dylan. And the machine started circling around him in a strange dance. Leaning his head to one side, half asleep, he watched Dylan lead a slow waltz with an oxygen tank. Sometime later, night fell. Meanwhile, in the ward, time stood still, much like Edgar. A cross on a chain stroked Dylan's hand, and it seemed to him that his father was wiggling his fingers. He didn't look up. He was afraid to see. What, exactly? Lively, smiling eyes from a photograph? Or the dead eyes of a corpse? Or these, closed, motionless, covered by gray eyelids? Dylan himself no longer felt like he was breathing. There was only dust in his lungs. He swallowed, about to get up, and his father's hand tightened slightly, wrapping around his fingers. His cheeks flushed red, everything inside expanded, as if instead of organs someone had pumped air inside. With wide eyes, Dylan looked up at the bed and heard a drawn-out beep from the side where the monitors were. The heart monitor displayed a straight line. A rugged, sleepy Elia appeared from somewhere on the side, perplexedly looking at it. Dylan, the heart. It stopped. Dylan continued to kneel, unresponsive to anything. Damn. How do you call for help on these? As if in response to his thoughts, a slightly rumpled man burst into the room. Get away from the bed. He roughly shoved Dylan away, who, falling, and grabbed onto the doctor's leg. Don't touch him. Do not. He's alive. He's okay. You'll hurt him. This is a mistake. Elia, grab him, please. Like a wildcat, he began to lash at the doctor's leg with his short nails. The man gasped, grabbing the edges of the bed, and shouted towards Elia. Take him away. The confused Elia immediately stepped up and, wrapping his arms around Dylan, tried to pull him to the side. Dylan held on tight, threatening to bite his friend's hand with his teeth. Then Elia, holding the squirming young man, pressed on the spot somewhere on his shoulder. He screamed. His hand relaxed for a second, but that was enough to get Dylan away from the doctor. A nurse came running, and together they managed to drag the young man to the door. Grabbing onto the door frame, trying to pull himself closer to it with the last bit of his strength, Dylan wheezed. Father, my father, why did you leave me? I can't do it alone. No pulse, starting CPR. Nigel's body twitched as the doctor began to press on his chest. The line on the heart monitor began to write out feverish peaks, echoing their strange dance. Dylan's hand slipped off the frame, and the door cut the last thread between him and his father. If there were a clock in the corridor, it would stop. The minutes passed so slowly. There was a fuss behind the door, and indistinct screams, then silence fell. Elia was still sitting next to his friend, standing between him and the room, but Dylan didn't move. Following the door open, Dr. Rant, sweaty and haggard, went out into the corridor. I'm sorry, we did everything we could, but this is the seventh stop in 3 days. His heart was just tired. His body was tired. He was tired. After a short pause, he reached into his pocket, rustled there for a pack of cigarettes. My condolences. Dylan was silent for a while, looking into Rant's face, and then shook his head. He lunged at Rant. Dylan slid into a nearby chair. How about you sit down? Dylan's soul is torn with guilt and sorrow. Why do you feel guilty? I'm curious about that. Like, what part do you think you have to play in this? Dropping his head between his knees and wrapping his arms around it, he breathed heavily. It's my fault. It's my fault. It's all because of me. What did you do? We were supposed to take him to London. Dr. Rant knelt down and put his hand on the boy's shoulder. You have nothing to blame yourself for. As an attending physician, I declare with full responsibility. His illness would not have left any doctor the slightest chance. This tumor was inoperable, Mr. Boston. You couldn't do anything. Dylan howled softly, rocking back and forth. Doctor raised a sad look at Elia and sighed softly. Would you like to say goodbye? Dylan's gaze met the doctor's. Yeah, go ahead. Mercy reigns here. For a while, Dylan stood at the very door, looking at his motionless father. It was as if nothing had changed except for the little things. The blanket was crumpled, the monitors were silent. But the smell has changed. Not the smell of a breathing body, not the smell of drugs and bleach, but the smell of death. After a couple of unsteady steps, Dylan ended up at the bedside, and he touched his father's limp hand. It was still warm, and it made his heart ache with subtle pain. His dry, sore eyes absorbed the sight of his father's last moments, and for a second he regretted that he had come. Elias' hand fell on his shoulder and squeezed a little. You came to say goodbye. That's the main thing. He would appreciate your courage and dedication. Dylan's lower lip trembled a little, and his nails dug into his palms. Raising his father's palm with deep respect, he Crumlin changed his hand. Dylan lowered his head and groaned dully. This chain would remind Dylan of his father. Okay, let's go home. Again squeezing his shoulder, Elia gently, like a mother, turned his friend to the door and led him to the exit. Behind them, the devices were silent, looking thoughtfully at those leaving. When there was a knock on the door, Dylan remembered that he hadn't locked it. He didn't even close it, apparently. The door creaked open by itself. The visitor timidly looked inside and called. Is there anyone here? Faced with Dylan's gaze flashing out in the darkness, he cursed in dismay and took a step back. Dylan? Dylan Boston, right? You scared me. Everything scares you. Spinning a blade between his fingers, Dylan nodded distantly. You're from the mansion. Charles Harris at your service. I would like to speak with someone. With your father, maybe? Wow. Dylan opened his mouth as if surprised and hissed. He died last night. That's, my condolences. Can't talk to you then? Get out. Charles stood at the door confused, then nodded. Yes, I understand. You have suffered a terrible loss. I will not bore you. You know what? Call me when you decide to talk. I have something for you. Something very interesting. Here's my number. Call 3 times, once every minute, and then I'll pick up the phone. Otherwise, I can't answer. Sorry. Precautions. Left a simple sheet of paper with numbers on the nightstand by the door, carefully examined the street, and finally disappeared behind the door. The glint on the blade in Dylan's hand went out as the room plunged into darkness again. The urn with the ashes looked tiny compared to the huge Edgar. Elias could not stop imagining Edgar trying to fit into the urn. The thought was attractive in its hideousness, and he tried to chase it away, but it continued to buzz in his head. Dylan stood swaying slightly in the wind, holding the urn to his side. Do you remember what the priest said? Yes, about judgment, forgiveness, anything. I don't know what anything means, but let's go with forgiveness. Though your sins are like scarlet, they shall be as white as snow. Though they are red as crimson, they shall be like wool. Did you remember it word for word? Tell me, what sins did my father commit that he chose to kill him? Why did he take him away from me? Elias sighed awkwardly, not taking his eyes off the sea. Now was the best moment to remember the betrayal and atrocities of the war. The wind pushed Dylan in the back, and he lured him to the edge of the cliff. Yielding, he came closer and opened the lid of the urn. The ashes burst out of his palm in a black and silver trickle, scattering over the waves, handful by handful, right into the mouth of the greedy sea. When the urn was empty, Dylan sat down on the cold grass and stared at the horizon. Elias prepared to wait patiently. In about 20 minutes, it began to drizzle. The rain quickly gained strength, covering their shoulders and backs of their heads with cold drops. Let's go to the car, Dylan. It's damn cold out here. Should have taken him to London. What? I shouldn't have listened to Rant. I should have taken him to London right away. They would have saved him there. But you saw the doctor's replies from there. They don't operate on such things. I should have tried. Maybe if there was more money. I just need to get the money. Elias sighed patiently, then knelt down. Dylan, it was hopeless. None of the doctors nor you could help him. Take that back. You know it's true. Stop burying your head in the sand. Take your bastard words back. Elias frowned and stood up. I won't. It's true, and you'll have to come to terms with it sooner or later. Breathing heavily, Dylan got to his feet, swayed in, leaned wearily against his friend, and swung his fist to spat at Elias' face. No, we're not doing those. I can't do this anymore. I know. Whatever end. I don't know that any amount of money could have saved him, per se. But I keep wondering, like, when did he know? Let's continue on. I'll save my thoughts. Actually, I won't, because I probably forget them. No, I'm just like, when did he know that he wanted to take him to London and that he might have needed more money to get him the best care? And at what point, concurrently, did someone inform him that he was the son of Annette? Because I just keep thinking, why didn't he? I know there's a thing that people don't like to ask for help, but I wonder, did he even cross his mind to ask me to help him? Or did you just assume that I wouldn't because I was supposedly hiding, knowing about the inheritance? At this point, we know that he knows because it covered the part where she came to the door to talk to him. So, like, I don't know. Of course. He gently shook Dylan by the shoulders, dropped splash from his wet clothes to the sides. Right now, your brain is telling you that everything is bad and nothing will ever work out. But that's not true. That is a lie. In fact, everything will be the way you want it. And you want everything to be good, sooner or later. How do you know? From the fact that you did not hit me in the face, but you wanted to, I saw. Dylan smiled weakly, finally allowing himself to feel the weight and coldness of his wet jacket. He already knew what he had to do. He was anticipating this, trembling all over. Let's go to the car. Firmly embracing him with one hand on the shoulder, Elia clapped his palm encouragingly. Yeah. Falling to his knees in front of the sofa, gasping for breath, he pulled the box to him. Then the lid smelled of drugs and clean bandages. He threw his shirt and suit on the floor, not caring about the wet stains remaining on the floor. Casually splashing antiseptic on his shoulder, he opened the blade. It pressed into the flesh slowly, and with every millimeter, Dylan's body flexed more towards the floor. Another trigger warning to everybody about self-cutting, self-harm. Okay, might want to maybe skip ahead. His breathing became ragged. He gritted his teeth and pressed the blade even further to a still untouched spot on his forearm. The second cut came out more easily, albeit more painfully. The red stabbing pulsation inside suddenly rushed into the room. It filled the space around it, pouring out from the wound. It was held inside as well as on the outside, and it felt right. No longer breathless, without stopping, Dylan made another cut. The blood dripped onto the floor, mixed with water from the drenched clothes. And then, after just 10 seconds of blissful euphoria, he met eyes with the Edgar smiling from the photograph. Shame bent him in half. Dylan collapsed to the floor, pulled his legs up to his chest, and finally sobbed. Charles didn't like him. Now that his consciousness was working more clearly than in recent days, he could even explain why. Charles wanted something from him. He didn't like people who had hidden goals. The man put several photographs on the table, one after another. I have all the evidence that Annette was your mother. Oh wait, so he didn't know up to this point? But I thought we've already gone to the point. I thought we already gotten to the point where he yelled at me at the door. So he didn't know at that point. He paused for a long time waiting for a reaction. I can't believe you or that my father would lie to me. Maybe that my father would lie to me. Okay. His head was dizzy. His mouth became dry. When was the last time he ate? I'm sure he did it for your good. His hand dove into a folder with documents and took out a piece of paper. This is the notary's number. Call him, ask questions. I'll wait. What's in this for you? Let's just say I have a desire to do good for my daughter and son. Don't worry about it, though. Let's tackle the current issue first. Dylan dialed the number. So, neither one of them figured out that I don't have the inheritance. So I guess I still have control of the company. They can make money through that, I suppose. Dylan dialed the number, glancing at Charles from under his brows. What if this was an accomplice at the other end? Should you trust them? And what does this fussy man want, really? So I'm telling the one that you got this information from me. I kind of wouldn't want to run into officials right now. There was a click on the phone, and Dylan didn't have time to answer this hasty request. Anthony Harrison? Hello, I'm Dylan Boston. I learned that Annette Silver Harris was my mother. I was told so. Do you know anything about this? There was silence on the other end, and then a sad voice answered. I contacted your father, young man. He said to not get you involved. Unfortunately, the deadline for challenging the will has already passed. I'm sorry. Will? There was a condition in the will according to which any other heir other than Miss Melody could get a share. Mrs. Annette notified me that she had an illegitimate child. She instructed me to contact your father in the event of her certain death. But your father, he insisted on not giving you this information. But why? I can't say. You were obligated to contact me. I'm an adult. I had to make that decision myself. Harrison paused awkwardly. Without waiting for an answer, Dylan tossed the phone down on the couch. This is all because of... No, hell no. You're not blaming me for that. Is it really because of Annette, though? All these options are kind of trash. Like, I don't want him to blame his father. I would say the most person to blame was Annette because she didn't want a child. Or she felt like she couldn't. I don't know. I feel like she should have told him before she died. Like, I kind of felt like she took the coward's way out by like waiting to like let him know when she died. At the same time, waiting to let me know as well. It's like I don't know, I still have a lot of resentment towards Annette, so if anything, I'm just gonna... A lot of times you have to talk about all this stuff. Leave me some money and that's it, without all these mysterious problems. Yeah, like why do you have to challenge for it? That's another thing. Yeah, I didn't think about that. Like, why does he have to challenge for it? Like, that didn't make any sense. Like, what? Like, why couldn't you just leave him some money and that'd be done? Yeah, you know what? That makes a lot of sense. She had a lot of money. Like, she could have easily split the money in half. Like, gave him half the money and gave me half the money, and that'd have been it. You know, that'd have been that. And I don't think we would be in the situation as we are. So yeah, it's kind of Annette's fault, just like everything else that's going on here. To be fair, the people who have been hurting me, a lot of it is on them, half on them as well, because they're just fucking trash individuals. Just like, seriously. But Melody is also to blame. How? How exactly? Dylan looked up in an instant. Explain? Charles leaned forward, switching to half whisper. Melody knew that you were her relative. Dylan's petrified, fingers gripped the edge. Well, I did. That's the only thing there. But he's looking to blame me for anything. Charles don't make no damn sense. He doesn't make sense. Like, even if I hadn't existed, she still wouldn't have left you anything. Like, that's the thing. Like, maybe it went to your kids. And somehow I don't put it above you to manipulate and trick your kids into giving you everything. Anyway, because you're just that obsessed with money. Fingers gripped the edges of the sofa, ripping the upholstery. She could have told you about it herself, but she chose to remain silent. Vile, rotten, she's because of her that Dad died. Really? Really? Like, I don't even understand why he's so out of his mind. Like, and what was up with the chip pieces? Like, I don't understand. Are they trying to say that all this is because that he's on drugs? Or, like a grief plays a part of it as well? But, like, I don't understand. Like, and what was that conversation? What was he mad about when he turned me away? Didn't I come and talk to him and tell him about this? And then he just kicked me out? I'm really confused about the timeline here. You know, I'm just gonna push ahead. I've decided that none of the villains make sense in this story, so I'm just gonna keep going. If not for her, I would have had money and a father. He jumped up and darted around the room, miraculously not colliding with the furniture. Charles leaned back in the chair, satisfied with the effect he produced. There's more. Melody hit the fact that I never left a personal bank account from you. Perhaps she foresaw the course of events. What? Leaning forward, he fished out a few more papers from a folder. Dylan's bloodshot eyes dug into the sheets. Account? Melody hid these papers. Perhaps she wanted to use them herself. Okay, now that part is a lie. Dylan learned a thing or two about Charles. Charles' eyes flickered and Dylan's grief-stricken gaze caught it immediately. How did you get these papers if Melody hid them? They were in the library in the mansion. Oh, you just came and asked for them? And they were given to you politely? The fire stuff from the library? Melody resisted. She didn't want to give them away. It was rumored that someone tied up the owner of the house, opened the safe, and then set the library on fire. Wasn't that you? Charles pressed himself into the back of the chair, carefully avoiding the young man's gaze. So what? What does it change? That means she didn't hide this account from me. She wasn't aware of it herself. Or maybe she knew and hid it in the safe on purpose. Dylan lifted the papers and looked at them impassively. But you didn't take them for me. You did this for yourself. Did you manage to use them? Charles pursed his lips in a squeamish yet aristocratic gesture. I'm guessing you were unable to, alright? So, I have money. His lips curled in a bitter grin. Why? Everything that could have been missed, I missed. That could have been missed, I missed. But you can still turn things around against the one. You can still turn things around against the one who wronged you. Somewhere in Dylan's chest, there was a premonition of something big. Christopher put his hand on his father's shoulder, but he impatiently shook it off and rode to the exit. To do that, you have to be an absolute sadist. He squinted at Charles without changing his posture. Don't you, Dylan? Dylan's empty eyes stared at the doorway. No, I'm not like that. I just want her to feel as bad as I do. I'll take care of it myself. No, you're a sadist. Sorry to leave you now. Our staff will be happy to do everything for your comfortable stay. Arigato gozaimasu. Dylan pressed against the thin wall. Dylan listened to voices through the rustling of the mask. Everything turned out as well as possible. Even the change of the hotel administration played into his hands. Instead of going to the reception, Yuma, for some reason, turned into the left corridor. Well, Tasana? Yes, one. Swearing, Dylan darted into a niche with vases. A pensive Yuma walked past without even turning his head. Dylan froze, leaning the back of his head against the wall and waited. Half an hour should have been enough for them to soften up, relax. And Manaka should have gone for a smoke break 3 minutes ago. She always did that when there were almost no visitors. Dylan stepped back into the corridor, walked quietly as if he was taking care of business. Manaka was walking towards him along the corridor. He turned pale but did not lose his step. Lingered before a smoke break? It didn't matter. It wouldn't hurt him. Looking through the nearest glass door, Dylan found Sam. It's weird that he's alone. Where'd the other one go? But never mind. He was the one in yellow. If the second one comes back, I'll have to kill him too. And she will then die of guilt herself. I'll just escape from jail and start over. Yeah. What makes you think you can escape from jail? Hot air from the slightly open door breathed into his face, pushing him back. So he thought it was Sam. The man lying belly down on the bench glanced lazily over his shoulder through fallen hair. He muttered something in Japanese and turned away. And Dylan, obeying his hysterically beating heart, grabbed his hair and pulled his head back. This is for... my father, I guess? Before he could even make a sound, the knife slit his throat, cutting his larynx. Dylan, his choice influenced Dylan's outlook, I guess. Dylan knew well how hard he had to push to pierce the flesh. The man tried to get up, and Dylan, in a strange impulse, turned his face towards him. Panic and then irritation filled him. He dropped the man's dying head back onto the bench and stepped back, leaving an imprint in a spreading pool of blood. He swore, jumped to the door on one leg, and pulled off his soiled slippers. I killed the wrong. Agonizing anxiety flowed through his veins, driving him away. Lingering cuts on his arm ached and itched, demanding attention. Gasping, Dylan rushed out to his hideout. Packet's blade rustled in his hand, but he did not dare open it. Well, are they here? He froze at the barn door, looking suspiciously at Dylan and the surroundings. What are you doing here? Nothing. The man's eyes narrowed. He took a short breath. What have you done? Killed someone. Who? Silence. Breathing heavily, Charles stepped closer, ducking to catch the young man's gaze. Who did you kill, Dylan? Clutching the package with the blade in his fist, he set through clenched teeth. The wrong guy. Someone on vacation. He came here with his fat friend. Charles buried his fingers in his hair. Horror appeared on his face. Why? Did you want to get some practice? Only one was supposed to die, only Melody. Dylan shook his head, squeezing the blade. She must suffer. She must die, that's it. After a pause, Dylan chuckled out of the corner of his lip. Looks like you don't understand anything or a damn coward. Even if he is, at this point, now that you just don't even fucking care that you killed some random person, that tells me everything I need to know about you as well. So, it's you're kind of disgusting. I don't know. I can guess the intention behind is to make me feel more for him somehow, but I still have too many gaps and questions. But I still don't feel like any small bit that it could have helped me feel bad for him, he immediately erases it on his own. I don't know. I don't think I'm getting to the point where the author wanted me to get. I don't know. I still don't feel that bad for him. I don't know. I go back and forth with it. Let's see. You don't understand anything or a damn coward. Well, he is a coward, but I don't know. Okay. What do I understand? What do I not understand? That we should not allow unnecessary deaths? What the hell will Lucas say when he finds out? He won't, though, right? Heavy unblinking gaze was still on the man, pinning him to the ground. I can't guarantee that. And what are you going to do without me? Will you kill her yourself? His body shook a little with laughter. You? You're going to kill her? Yeah, right. You wouldn't even kill a chicken. You're weak. You're a coward. If someone handed you a knife, you'd only wave it, whoosh, but you'd miss. That is kind of what happened. And if you would land a hit, you'd be the first to be scared to hell. With flashing eyes, Charles bent down and hissed in his face. We'll see. The window was covered with frost from the outside. It was impossible to tell whether or not the light was on in the room. But the light was not needed. Everything was known in advance. Every movement studied to the smallest detail. Everything necessary was stored in a metal box. Bandaged, disinfected, and most importantly, blades. His finger trembled so much that he almost dropped it. He pressed against the skin of the forearm more and more until blood came out. The blade was going deeper and deeper, and the blood had already started flowing down his fingers, plopping down the floor in clots. The muscles of his face were contracting from euphoria, pain, disgust, shame, and guilt. In the dry silence of a half-abandoned room, drops fell with a thick, wet sound. Dan was preparing for the next step. It turned out that assembling a bomb was not difficult. Dylan diligently and very carefully secured the end of the tube when the door swung open. They saw me. Dan, they were chasing me through the woods. He was breathing heavily and nervously, looking back at the door and fussily pulled off his jacket. So you did something stupid? What are you doing? I will make sure that no one can leave this valley. And if we're lucky, we'll all be left without a telephone connection. Charles was taken aback, then staggered close to the door. Is that a bomb? Dylan's lips spread into a strange, euphoric smile. Yes, I know exactly where to put it. I will tell Lucas, or the police. You're going too far. All this must be stopped. So this is what you get for not being able to do shit on your own and drawing in half-deranged people into, it don't even make any sense. Because I guess you didn't have enough money to go to hire a contract killer or something. I don't know. But, at this point, just let it go. Go ask your kids for help or something. I don't know. Anything. I guess he's gonna lose face with his kids, I guess. But, stop smiling. Dylan extended to him the bomb or a knife. I guess the knife that he used? Sure. Man froze in front of the blade like a deer in the headlights of a car. You say as much as a word to him, you'll end up like that guy in the sauna. Now if you excuse me, and now you're like taunting people with it as if you're proud that you killed this random person. See, that's what I'm talking about, guys. Like, I'm trying to be understanding. I really am. But like, and he goes too far. Like, he's just a straight up murderer. Like, that's. If you excuse me, I'll go see what I guess they're up to. Well, I'm sorry I yelled at you back then. I was wrong. Melody must suffer, and she will suffer. Satisfied, Dylan poured the rest of the tea into his mouth and exhaled, fidgeting with the knife at the edge of the table. I'm glad you figured that out, so we need to develop a plan. He stretched sleepily and then yawned, his eyes clouded over. Would you like to get some sleep first? Yeah, I'll probably get some sleep. He got up, took 2 steps towards the bed, and collapsed. After waiting a minute, Charles used the same tea on him that he did with us. So Stoll stood up, poked the guy in the stomach with his foot, and got to work. He dug out a porter's uniform from the closet and then grabbed a belt and a shirt at random. He had to put them on, fidgeted, trying to fit into a suit that was too tight for him. His nose wrinkled in displeasure. Then he went to the door, but stopped on the way. He looked thoughtfully at Dylan. With visual pleasure, kicked him in the side. Maniac. I hope you rot in jail. I'll return the uniform in about an hour or 2. Bye-bye. Except that yours is blue. It's hard to breathe. Charles rocked a chair, trying to make it room for at least breathing. Turned up, his hands were useless. He could neither reach the ropes nor use the force of his twist to free himself. Exhaling in irritation, Charles lifted his head sharply with the click of the door. Well, hello there, Charles. Didn't work out, I see. Charles started breathing even faster and harder. I wanted to try it out myself in order not to burden you. Oh, don't worry. It won't. I slept well, thank you. Charles hummed something inarticulate, straining his arms muscles with all his might. Why are you getting so nervous? Everything will be fine. And so you don't scream, how about we use a rag? Charles stopped moving. Dylan gently took the rag out of his mouth. Now nothing would get in the way. Now he would do everything right. Dylan was silent for a long time, looking at his hands. Somewhere inside you, an alarm was ringing out, making your arms and shoulders tremble. See, Melody, you did it yourself with your own hands. You just had to tell me about the money, and nothing would have happened. Your ears were buzzing, you gritted your teeth. I'm trying to remember that conversation back then. Is that not the reason I came to talk to him and he closed the door in my face? Like, let me see. I'm not responsible. I'm not. Let's just go with this. Of course, you just wanted everything for yourself, right? And how could you argue with him? I just didn't think. Of course, you always thought only of yourself. That's okay. There were exceptions, right? Where are they now, I wonder? The bells in your head began to ring with doubled enthusiasm. My friends? Where are they? What did you do to them? He raised his head, looked into your face, and smiled with satisfaction. That's another matter. Your friends are dead, Melody, but don't worry. Before you die, you will find out exactly how I killed them. Despite a whole episode focused on connecting me to the villain, I don't feel connected. I'm gonna be honest. Give me your thoughts on it. Okay, final episode 11. Look into your heart and see the final twist of your story. It all comes down to this, guys, with 1 teacup remaining. No, I can get more. Oh boy. You know what? Let's just play. Let's just play and see. I have bad feelings. I don't think I'm prepared. Okay. Chapter 11, your story. Oh my gosh. This chapter chasing you contains scenes of death and violence. So that just confirms. You will die horribly if you get this wrong. Please read on with caution. I just didn't think. Uh-huh. Now I wonder. Enthusiasm. My friends. Smile of satisfaction. They're dead, but don't worry. Before you die, you'll find exactly how I killed them. Okay, going back to this. Alexander nervous looked around, scanning the crowd with his eyes. Eve, this is not funny. Does it look like I'm laughing? I swear to you, she went to the toilet. I just checked, she's not there. Have we checked both of them? Are there two? One is over there by the queue and the other is at the end of the square. Maybe Melody went where the line is shorter? Rachel nervously crumpled a cake box in her hands. We shouldn't have left her alone. We didn't leave her alone, damn it. Eve put her lip, almost crying. Almost crying, really? I didn't know she cared about me that much. Okay, I have to reevaluate Eve. Not that I didn't dislike her, but I don't know. Elia, frowning while looking around the crowd, suddenly raised an eyebrow. Is that Yuma? Yuma. The giant raised his hand. The pale Japanese man hurried towards them. Yuma? Is everything fine? Have you seen Melody? Have you seen me? Breathing heavily, the young man looked at their faces. Isn't Melody side here? This is bad. This could be very bad. What do you know? Don't scare us. Exhaling again, Yuma pulled out a folder from under his kimono and handed it to Alexander. I found Marcus Warren's documents. They called me know why, but they were in the western closet and... Anyway, I found them. Also, someone stole a snowmobile from the hotel and... Okay. So at least Yuma wasn't involved. He's been sketched to me for a while. But... Sam swallowed, looking over the pale Alexander's shoulder. And that was Dylan. Elias' face reflected amazement, then doubt, then horror. He grabbed the folder, almost rested his nose against it, then exhaled nervously. Bombs. He made the bombs. Was that your insane friend? Insane? Lost his father not so long ago and is completely overwhelmed by his grief. He used to be prone to nervous behavior, and after Edgar's death, he completely lost it. But the main thing is, his father was a military man. Do you understand? Traps, bombs, mines, weapons. He can do it all. How can you, damn it. The Japanese man shrank under Alexander's sizzling gaze. He was the one who took a picture in the barn. She pulled a photo, printed on a regular copier by the corner. Jaws clenched, Elias slowly exhaled. Do you think he planned to kill her then? I think he was just looking for an opportunity. I agree. Most likely he constantly followed, waiting for a chance. And waited. Rachel sobbed, her hand over her mouth. What are we gonna do now? Stay put and call the police. Haven't you heard? The weather service issued a blizzard warning. You must leave the search to the professionals. Alexander and Sam looked at each other and immediately came to a tacit agreement. Is there a chance that Dylan still occupied one of the rooms in your unfurnished wing? There is. One of the rooms is officially allocated for him. You think he could have brought her there? Or where Charles lived? There's also the barn. She embarrassedly pointed her finger at a piece of photo sticking out of the folder. Maybe she didn't go anywhere. Maybe she's just at a souvenir shop, for example. We need to search the hotel. Let someone stay in the village in case she comes back. It will take ages to get there on foot. Then we need a car. Rachel, Sam, stay here. Elia, Eve, and I will go to the hotel. In this weather? And you in a right-hand drive? You can't handle the controls. Let's find a car, I'll drop you off, and then I'll go back to Rachel. It makes sense for him to drive. I won't leave her alone. Yuma will stay with her, right? At the same time, he will call the police and tell them what happened. So the phones work now? I'll check both roads to the village. But... Sam said a couple of phrases in Japanese. Yuma shut up and nodded in shame. So Alexander chuckled and then put his hand on Sam's shoulder. That's why you're my best friend. Aww! They're best friends. That's adorable, even though we're about to die. Yay! Let's go back to our taxi and take our jackets and pants from the driver. And let's go find the car. I feel it'll be one of those nights. You have no idea. They're not dead. Dylan cocked his head to one side, smiled a little. What makes you say that? I feel it in my heart. Sounds like intuition. So we're gonna go with I know my friends. So you know they're immortal or something? Because otherwise I don't understand. Bitter saliva has suddenly accumulated in your mouth. You swallowed hard. After everything we've been through together, they can't die. There is more good in you than cruelty. What strong love, what friendship. You're always coddling them. How do you know? Instead of answering, Dylan reached into his pocket, took out his phone, fiddled with it, and turned it on. Come to the house in the mountain. I'll tell you a fairy tale about a chanterelle. It's a mushroom. Recording immediately war with noise and shouts. It shows you playfully fighting with each other. You got cold inside. And you turned it on over the radio, but then they also heard everything. Your truck continued to smell softly. Different radio, different frequency. You should watch your pockets and crowds. It worked out well with these radios that Yuma gave them to you. I knew not to trust them. I knew we should have configured them ourselves. He thoughtfully turned the radio in his hand, squatting at your feet. A nasty knot twisted inside. Stupid, stupid, stupid. You must be scolding yourself right now, huh? Good, but ultimately in vain. You will still end up here, be it today or tomorrow. I know everything about you. I know they are the only ones you trust. And that you will follow their voices even to hell, silly lamb. You shook your head and licked your dry lips. We would have found you. We were investigating. Dane leaned forward with benevolent interest. Yes, and what did you learn? You found a piece of the puzzle. For example, that Musashi looks like Sam. Dylan stared at the floor and nodded thoughtfully. Yes, that was a big mistake. Found a piece of the puzzle. I have two. I have a picture of Charles's hands, these cuts. He couldn't have inflicted them himself once the police figured that out. Dylan nodded, wagging the paw nut dangle from his knee thoughtfully. I've already done what I wanted. The rest does not scare me, but yes, I got a little carried away. The investigation succeeded. Okay. Closing your eyes, you slowly began talking about the other evidence. About Manaka and Hisao, about the prints in the blood, and about your feelings. When you were silent, Dylan thought and clapped. Well, this is beautiful. You were so close to solving it. Anyway, it won't help you now. The investigation see your chances of survival have increased. Well, apparently it has helped me, somehow. Maybe it's that, since the police know, for example, for a fact, that the killer is not found, then they'll continue looking. I mean, I thought that would have been obvious but I mean, and they'll continue looking. And so they'll try to figure out what happened to me. Because if a body hasn't been found, like the other bodies have, then they'll come looking for my body at least, even if they think I'm dead. Right. You raised your head for the first time in all this time, calmly said, who knows? You will be arrested anyway. My friends will get you. My partners will get you. He doesn't care about being arrested. Partners? They're more like friends, not just partners. I don't know where I'm going with this. You had friends from the other world? You jerked all over, then went limp when the ropes tightly held your hands in place. I don't know if I did that right. He got up, stretched his legs, and then looked out the tiny window. When I'm done with you, I don't care who comes after me. Then he stretched out, turned around with a sly smile and winked. But enough of this. After you passed out, I went to the hotel. Rach, we're almost there. Don't worry. I'll take a look around this room. Then we'll go and have a look into the barn. Got it. Good luck. It's still quiet over here. Got it. Keep waiting. Over. Sam, once you get back to the to get Rach, take another look through the town. I don't think it will help, but I'll do it. The snowstorm is getting worse. Will you make it back all right? I'll manage. Don't worry about me. Let me know if anything goes wrong. Everyone checked their radio. Sam pulled up before the hotel parking lot. Good luck. Same to you. The door slammed and the car turned around sharply. With pistols at the ready, the guys walked around the hotel and stopped in front of the barn. Pistols! Someone fixed the door. Oh, I understand why he has a gun. Oh, right. Because if Elia and Eve were checking the barn, then yeah, they would have guns. Someone fixed the door. Eve twitched an eyebrow, came closer, and pulled the handle. Unlocked? Let's go. After rubbing it with her shoulder, Elia was the first to go inside. It was quiet and cool inside. The light from a spotlight on the side of the hotel penetrated through the cracks. I'm wondering about him killing Elia. There's no one here. Let's take a closer look. Maybe a basement. We should also check it. Go check the dark spots, and you look for the entrance. You're scattering different directions from the door methodically, slowly examining the room. Suddenly a loud froze, sucked in the air deeply. Can you feel it? You've also stopped. It smells like burning. The door clanged predatorily, slamming shut. The lock clicked. He would burn Elia alive? Even though he was his friend, he was the only person who was there for him that whole time. Are you kidding me? And they want me to feel sorry for this guy? Fuck him. Damn it, the bastard was watching us. The man rushed to the door and pressed on it with his whole chest. Swore. Elia, straw. He would seriously burn Elia alive. Like, come on, guys. He turned to a calm voice and saw a column of fire rising from the bale of straw. The flame licked the support beam and gently pressed against it. Shit, Eve. We need to get out of here. Let's fight through the fire. I'll use the tractor. Find another way. I don't want to waste time with the tractor. Just, Eve started kicking over. That means that they could definitely die. Oh my god. Eve started kicking over boxes and cans. Oh. Every choice I make. Oh no. Guys. Oh god. What if this is like that one episode where we were fighting in the woods? Remember that? Oh, and all the episode before that with the avalanche? Oh my gosh. That was intense. Elias, swaying profusely, also got down to business. Suddenly, Eve shot, leaning to the ground at the rear wheel of the tractor. Found it. It's a basement. Ooh. You had a good relationship with the surviving twin, so the guy's got an advantage. She pulled and the door unexpectedly easily open. Elia, it's open. Come here. The guy's chance of survival increased. The man didn't make her wait. Wait. You're saying Christopher is down there? Or that he unlocked it? Slamming the hatch closed behind them, Eve darted along the walls. There's a window here. We've got enough air. Poisonous fumes of smoke seeped through the cracks of the hatch. Without stopping coughing, Elias squinted at the window and sniffed. Then he took out a walkie-talkie and tried to call someone. In response, only a soulless hissing. He swore, then approached the window and put out his hand. To the same effect, then the male exhaled resolutely. Eve, you get out through the window. I won't fit through there, but you can. What? No, I can't leave you here. You will save me if you get out. Come on, I'll help. The girl hissed in protest, but the stern gaze of the man drove her to the window. Okay. But don't you dare die here. Do you hear? I'll be back for you, damn it. Just be careful. Call rescuers and nick it with your head. After pushing Eve out, Elia took a few handfuls of snow and warmed them a bit in his hands. After wetting the cloth, he sank to the ground by the window. Tendrils of smoke slowly seeped through the hatch. Oh my gosh. He could suffocate down there. After getting out, Eve took a few steps from the building. Eve was about to, cough and help, break the lock, run to the hotel to get help. No. Perhaps Eve will survive, but Elia. No. I messed up. Nope. No. I was gonna have her call for help, but I'm like, the walkie-talkies weren't working. Maybe these weren't working in the bottom. No. How did I get a teacup back? You saw it go. I'm not. No. We're starting over. We're starting over, okay? We're gonna do exactly what we just did, but we're starting over. Because absolutely not. No. Alright, we're back here with the fire. I still think finding another way was the best option. Yeah. I still understand. I'm wondering if this hatch would not have been open if Christopher wasn't here to help them. I wonder if they'll answer that later. Anyway, she goes through the window. Oh my god. I'm so worried. Okay. So there's a chance that Eve could survive, but oh, focus. I'm not gonna break the lock. Run to the hotel was stupid. Call for help. The guys may be able to survive yet. It's not a guarantee, but that's the best chance I can give them, I'm thinking. I don't think breaking the lock is a good idea. And it said both of them. After running away from the building on the hillock, Eve grabbed the radio. All we can do is increase everybody's chances of survival. To everyone who hears me, there's a fire in the barn. Elia is trapped inside. I repeat, there's a fire in the barn. We need help. Eve? Eve, are you alright? I'm safe. Call the firefighters. Elia's there. Oh, she reached Rachel. Inside. Got it. I'm on it. Hold on. Okay. I feel good about that. Eve rushed around the building itself, trying to find some way out. Something hissed inside. Then there was a crash. The building creaking from the strain began to fall right on Eve. If this isn't some Until Dawn shit. Oh my god. All I can think is that they give them the best chance. Surely. Wish I had time to keep watching, but I had to move on. You're lying. It's not true. What's the truth then? The truth is that you're a sick maniac. You and I are very similar in that. Not even close. What? Me and you? Completely insane. Think hard. You're no different from your aunt. The fact that you think that means you don't actually know me at all. When did my aunt have friends? That's number one. This is arrogant and irresponsible. And you kill people just like her with your indifference and stupidity. What? That's not true at all. What? I can't even sort of see that comparison. From everything I've done. No, you tripping. You dug your nails into the armrest. I left my friends. Dylan took his head to one side and smiled and said without pausing. Sam was harder to catch. I installed the scarecrow beforehand, but I had to make sure he fell for it. Sam was driving slowly along the road around the hotel looking for signs of Melody, the scarecrow. He was circling around for the third time, not really hoping for anything, but also not finding the strength to leave. The guys find something have to be on the lookout. Is what going to happen in the car? Is it going to test his driving skills? Oh my god. Radio on the dashboard hissed. Guys, there's something here. Have a closer look anyway. I'm already returning towards the village. Got it. Good luck. Over. He felt his eyes begin to pinch from dryness. Peering into the road, he felt his shoulders and headache with tension. The car barely trudged through the blizzard, 10 times slower than Sam's heart. I don't care. I have to go faster. Rachel is waiting. I remember the road well. Rachel, as if something his thoughts said over the radio. Sam, how's it going? Nothing no change so far. Stepped on the gas and almost immediately. I'm going back. Don't go any... Damn! The radio fell to the floor and rolled up somewhere under the seat. Oh, he thought it was me on the road. He highlighted by the headlights through a veil. Don't come. I don't know. How about the veil through the snow? A man stood in the middle of the road and did not move. From somewhere in the depths of his brain, a memory fell on Sam. No, they did not. No. Oh, and he would have. Oh my god. When the signal was given, the driver started their cars abruptly and squeezed into the seats. The car quickly picked up speed, maneuvering between rivals and the other cars. The driver ignored the red color and, in general, all possible traffic laws. Take that. Oh my god. A girl jumped out into the road. Two more cars crashed into them. One flew past. Someone screamed. No, no, no. I'll drift away. Oh, no! First we gotta hit the brakes, right? You remember the drift lessons. Oh. Hot pause. Hot pause. I'm finna go watch that video. Hot pause. I am not about to fail this, because that wasn't the only step. Hold up, hold up, hold up. Okay. I hope it works out the same. I think I'm ready to give this a try. Car ground into the snow with all four wheels. Stan gritted his teeth. Just don't lose control. Don't lose it. Now, turn the steering wheel to the left. Yeah. Sam, I just survived. Okay. Throwing lumps of snow from under the wheels, the car swept a centimeter from a stuffed animal. What? His heart sounded strained in his chest. His hands went limp and his head was buzzing. Sam did not feel his fingers and almost did not see a tree flying at him. The reflexes kicked in his body by itself. Keep going to the left? I cannot lose Sam. SUV got pressed into the tree on the side opposite to the driver. Convulsively twitching, the car finally slowed down. Sam was thrown forward headfirst. Pain fled up in his chest area where the belt was fastened. The lights blinked in response and went out. What the hell? I did everything right. Right? I did everything right. I think. It was hard to breathe. His breath seemed to be stabbing her in the chest. He's lying, he's lying, he's lying. Don't give in to him. Why are you doing all this? Why? Because you should be properly punished. Do you understand? No. What have I got to do with it? It was your mother that betrayed you, not me. For a few seconds, you looked into each other's eyes. Distraught with pain, loss, and endless anxiety in their hearts. Our fathers have sinned. They are no longer there, and we are punished for their crimes. He paused and then, without breaking eye contact, added, but don't pretend to be an innocent sheep either. If a person sins in hearing the utterance of an oath, and is a witness, whether he has seen or known the matter, if he does not tell it, he bears guilt as you bear yours. A long-forgotten dream crept into your consciousness and whispered in a rotten voice, I'm coming for you. It was death then, in that dream. Death spoke to me. And it said that I was her prey and bringing her others. No. We'll leave it to me. I'm not bringing her others. I don't want to die. Do you really think I'm that bad? Father's cross helped Dylan be softer. After a pause, Dylan put his hand under his sweater and felt something there. The golden chain flashed and disappeared again like a fish in a muddy reservoir. Apathy from somewhere deep in your abdomen rose up, engulfing your body. I knew I did not have enough. Okay, well, we'll find out what that choice does on a different run. But, oh well, we can't do that now. So, I'm like 9 short. Okay. This sucks. Okay, I'm probably going to die. Then, yeah. Then raised an eyebrow and his face grew bored. Why is that? Didn't I do good to people? Didn't I help those who needed it? Maybe, but I'm not interested in that, you see. He stood up and bent over you to smell a sweat, because he only cares about himself. Smell of sweat and pills filled your nose. You even got a little dizzy. I'm only interested in what you did to me and my dad. You act like actively doing anything wrong to you. Like, I don't understand. Like, I don't know. Dylan slept to his full height and looked down at you. You're not ready to die yet. You need to find out what happened next. I don't want to. Your voice was small, escaping from your throat with a squeak, but Dylan had no time for you. He enjoyed opening his net and showing a rich catch. The door was unlocked. This alerted Alexander even more. Slowly pulling the handle, he tensed his whole body, preparing to jump or hit. But the room was empty. Alexander stepped inside and closed the door behind him. So, if they were all rushing out to do these things simultaneously, how exactly did Dylan get around to all these places all at once? And until Dylan, it made more sense because there was more than one killer. So, not everyone who died by the same person. So it made a lot more sense. But like, how is he in all these places at once? Like, and how did he know where to go first? Like, I don't know. I guess the scarecrow, but no, because he was standing by the road too when he set up the scare. I don't know. He did not turn on the light. Firstly, it might not even work. Secondly, his own intuition told him that it was unsafe. Despite the blizzard, the light from the spotlight directed to the construction site illuminated the room well. The man threw off his jacket, picked up the walkie-talkie, and announced thoughtfully, "Guys, there's nothing here." The radio almost immediately responded with Sam's voice. "Close a look anyway. Good luck." With all this gesture, turning off the radio, Alexander attached it to his belt. The decor in the room was modest, but after the explosive adventure at the tower, Alexander did not want to risk it. He jumped out into the corridor and brought a long mop handle left by someone on the stairs. With it, he began to open drawers, lifted the mattress, and checked the space under the bed. But there was nothing. The lack of results was discouraging. Alexander sat down on the bed, fatigue fell on his shoulders and pressed on his head. Sighing heavily, he squeezed it with his palms, trying to gather his thoughts together. "Where did you take her, you bastard? Where?" He felt sick, but then apathy wrapped his arms around him, pulling him down. The minutes dragged on. He had to get up, do something. The ring on the belt hissed hysterically. "To everyone who hears me, it's fire in the barn. Your lives trapped inside. We need help." "You're right?" "Got it. Hold on." He heard the words, but his conscience refused to collect them into intelligible speech. Alexander couldn't find the strength to think about it. Why do I feel so ill? Is there something in the air? I have to get up. Wow, hit them where it hurts, dude. And you need to do it quickly. Alexander raised his eyes to his father, trying to focus his gaze. An understanding, kind face blurred, sometimes taking the shape of a chair. But his heart told him, it's Dad. He came to save him. We need to find her. First the gas canister, otherwise you will die. Alexander swayed, turned his dim gaze to the corner of the room. Well, there's gas in here. It was an ordinary gas canister to which he almost did not pay attention to during the search. Get up. Something needs to be done. Get up. Alexander stood up, took 2 steps, then kneeled over and vomited around to the floor. He briefly felt better, his head cleared momentarily. I need to turn on the light, close the canister, open the window. Get air. Because the time we waste, like, trying to close the canister, and we don't even know if it can be closed, it could just be, like, burst in, like, a random spot. We need to get air. The window handle did not turn. Oh, no. He pressed harder there with both palms. Reluctantly yielding to the pressure, it went up. Oh, Alexander hung on the windowsill, breathing and inhaled in the frosty air. Breathe. Good. But we must leave. His stomach clenched again in a spasm, trying to jump out of his throat. Alexander stumbling walked to the door, trying to keep a hold of his escaping consciousness. The door moved easily, flung open almost at the thought. He fell out into the corridor, holding on to the handle. There, pointing a gun forward, was the same man who took his father away from him. Or perhaps it wasn't him? There was something strange about him. Alexander felt, he knew, that he was there in the hangar when his father was dying. Alexander, you won't kill my father again. Letting go of the handle, he rushed. Go to the father. Because why would you run towards the guy with the gun? The shot blew up the room and threw Alexander to the side and to the floor. Dad, I loved you every second of my life. Okay, that one made me tear up. Alexander collapsed to the floor. His sweater was soaked with blood. There were hurried steps on the stairs. The killer, hiding the pistol, hurried down the corridor. Oh my god. I don't want... Guys. Okay. Alexander has been shot before. He might make it. But he didn't call out for help. Neither did Sam. But I did everything I could, right? I mean, what would be the point of going to the killer? Because he would have had a straight on shot. At least we dodged kind of to the side so he might have missed a vital organ. You thrashed about, straining your arm muscles, trying to break the binds. To gnaw this a sadist's throat with your own teeth. To admit, the idea belonged to Charles, although he did not understand it. Once he just to gas you one day, he even got his hands on the canister. He's been helpful, until he died, of course. No, until you murdered him. Not that I care about that part, but you did murder him, because you are a murderer. And that's about as good as you get. You watched him with puffy reddened eyes. The young man rubbed his face with his hands as if shaking off drowsiness. I have to say, I couldn't have done it alone. This red-haired Callaghan is also now without imagination. And most importantly, you know, my dad helped me. I was completely out of it. He taught me, you know. He taught me to shoot, how to avoid traps, and how to set them. He believed that a man should be able to protect himself. Yeah, that's what he believed. To protect yourself, not turn into a fucking murderer. You should be ashamed of yourself, seriously. Think he would be happy? He went silent, his elbows rested on his knees, his palms hanging limply. He was a good man, my father. Better than all of you scum. Add yourself in that. Looking up at you, he smiled. You're almost ready to die, right? Do not rush. There's still your girlfriend left. You didn't touch Rachel. She's never offended anyone her entire life. So she's a martyr. He will accept her well. Rejoice. You groaned painfully, swaying from side to side. Anyway, you stay put and think what I could have done to her. In the meantime, I'll go and check if everything is in order. He put on the jacket, stretched his legs with pleasure, and went out into the night. To find a way to get out of this chair. A second later, the rumble of a blizzard mixed with the faint whine of the engine. You quickly looked around, trying to find something to cut the ropes with. Left the blade around the table. Is this a trap? I can't reach, or if I do, I'll probably drop it. Or not? I have to try. Take the blade, untangle with your nails. Drop the bottle. What bottle? Oh, the bottle of listening. That does sound like a trap. To take the blade. It does sound like a trap, but I mean, you know, that would take forever. How long is it gonna be out? I don't know. While rocking the chair, you managed to turn it so that your fingers were at the table. Your stiff frostbitten fingers. My fingers should not be frostbitten. I didn't get frostbite the last time. You bit your lip, pulling them forward. Your hands together with the ropes slid down the smooth arm of the chair, little by little. Your fingers touched the edge of the heavy blade, and it, with a malevolent clang, fell to the floor. No, damn it, no. Well, anger and irritation caused you to shake. Tried to stretch your leg, but only drove it deeper under the table and chair. What the hell? You moved in your chair, and the edge of the forgotten radio rested against your thigh. That's right, I can try to call someone. If, of course, I can tune the radio to a different frequency. I need to remember what frequency does Sam tune our radios to. He didn't say. Oh. I have enough points for this. I remember. Yay! I should try to reach the walkie-talkie. Press inside to the edge of the chair and wriggling your hips, you gradually pulled the radio out of your pocket. You grabbed it with your elbow, pushed it to her knees. Breathing heavily, you listened to the sounds outside. You had to go through a lot just to push the radio to your bare fingers. Exhaling nervously, you began to sort the frequencies. Stopping on the one that seemed right to you, you took a deep breath. You then leaned forward and pressed the call button. To everyone who hears me, I repeat, to everyone who hears me, I'm in a house on a mountain. I'm in a house on a mountain. Someone, please. The radio answered with an indifferent hiss. Sam? Alexander? Eve? Rachel? Elia? Anyone? It was almost painful to pronounce their names. Anxiety settled in your chest, clawing at your throat. Please respond. Anyone. If you can hear me, call the police. I'm in trouble. I'm in a house above the Blue Lake. I repeat, I'm in trouble. Noise of an engine was heard outside. You twitched in fright and turned off the radio. Then you began to push it under the kimono. Straightening up, you recovered as if nothing had happened and stared at the door. Swung open, letting in a flock of curious snowflakes into the house. Dylan shook himself off like a beast, stomped his feet noisily, shaking off the snow. He took off his jacket and shook it cheerfully, addressing you. I think nobody's going to bother us right now. That's good. We still have an unfinished story. He looked into the kettle, refilled it with water from a bottle, and casually put it on the shelf by the fireplace to warm up. All this was so mundane that it did not match the whole situation you find yourself in. Dylan threw some wood into the fireplace and sat down on the skin on the floor and continued. She was the last one. There was no need for traps for her. Watching y'all was fun, you know, seeing how you care for each other. But she was the most gentle of you all. Lived by you, breathed by you. You used the past tense. You grabbed the armrest, wanting to rip his throat out with your nails. Rachel darted around the square, looking in all the corners, asking questions, looking out. How did it happen that Melody's son was left alone? Probably the same way that you're about to leave Rachel alone? We left her to prepare a surprise. We were planning a gift. Congratulations. She's been working like she was cursed since Cadigan's death, didn't rest at all. Once we took her on a vacation to the sea, and she never looked up from her laptop for all of it. Then we decided to give her a New Year's gift, a small yacht, modest but sweet, so she could take a break from her job and sail out to the sea for the weekend. But you can't bring the yacht here all the way from Sweden. We had to do something different. We ordered a cake, a replica of the gift. We wanted to give it to her with New Year's salutes, all of us together. Although the girl was late, well, the one who made the cake, she's a local. She apologized and said that with the New Year, she had to walk here. Tears suddenly flowed from her eyes. Nemo nervously rummaged in his pockets, fished out a paper napkin from there and handed it to her. Please don't cry. I'm sure everything will work out. Yes, of course. The radio hissed like an angry snake. Rachel, almost there. Don't worry. I'll take a look around his room. Then we'll go and have a look in the barn. Got it. Good luck. It's still quiet over here. Got it. Keep waiting. Over. Rachel sniffed, stepped up, and looked more boldly at Yuma. Let's go around the square one more time? Yes. Minutes dragged on, but nothing changed. Rachel reached for the walkie-talkie several times before letting it go, afraid to distract her friends at a critical moment. Yuma despaired and hid one of the establishments mercifully left by the owner for these two crazies. Rachel refused to go in after him. Rachel came to life on the belt. Guys, there's nothing here. Closer look. Harvey grew a little calmer. They're alive. They're all looking for Melody. Everything is alright. After wondering a little more, Rachel hesitantly picked up her walkie-talkie and called. Sam, how's it going? Here's the fire. I'm going back. Don't go and eat. There was a hiss, then somewhat indistinct sounds. Hiss again, already louder, ringing in silence. Sam? Sam, answer me. Sam, what happened? Her alarm immediately escalated. Rachel, worst after humor, continued to call out to Sam. You need to go talk to Yuma, please. What if Yuma's in on it, though? He said he wasn't. He said all the right words. But there's no point in continuing to call it to Sam because we know what happens from there. We know what happens from there. Let's go. He himself came out to meet her, seeing how she darted across the square. Suddenly the radio squeaked in Eve's voice. Okay, she's about the fire. Rachel gripped the device even tighter, almost crying into the microphone. Safe. Got it. Hold on. Yuma, the hotel's on fire. We need firefighters now. The nervous administrator turned, fell, and for some reason ran back to the establishment. After a few minutes later, he returned and assured the girl that everything will be okay. Yuma, Sam is there. I don't know what happened, but it seems to me that everything is bad. We need to go to the hotel. In this weather? Are you out of your mind? No. No one knows. Stay here. How will you get there? There's a direct path from here to the hotel, right? Well, we've been on it 10 times these days. It's impossible to get lost. But the weather... You just haven't seen a real blizzard. This snowfall is child's play. If you don't come with me, I'll go alone. My friends need help. Stay if you're cowardly. Just call the police. She angrily flared her nostril, turned around, and went deeper into the village. The snowfall gently grabbed her silhouette and devoured it while Yuma desperately called out to her. I knew I didn't like him. But when I calmed down, the only problem was snow. That's okay. It can be dealt with. The main thing is not to go astray. A straight, wide path led through the forest right to the hotel, and Rachel stubbornly walked along it, squinting her eyes. Several times she thought she heard someone else's footsteps, but no one showed up on the trail behind. And how did he get here? How did he know she would go this way? At the cliff, she stopped, leaning against the trunk of an ash tree that somehow managed to grow there. Like, I want to know that. Like, tell me that part of his planning. Like, how he knew where to be. Now, that would have been interesting. The snowfall parted like a veil, revealing the one who was following her. You're all such idiots. And you must be a fucking ghost. How the hell did you get here? How did you know to come here now? After the other two? Like, how do you know she wouldn't do this first? Like, Rachel straightened up, looking at him with the nervousness of a rabbit. You walk along through the winter forest, looking into dangerous dark corners. You never think with your head. That is why you are so easy to kill. Checking all over with fear, Rachel nodded. When I was a kid, I went out to rescue a puppy from a bunch of brutes who were going to drown him. I almost shared his fate. Alexander pulled me out. We were both beaten. I think nothing has changed since childhood. Alexander wanted to get you out this time. He died. I shot him. Sam crashed in his car. So once again, if the plan was, if you have been watching, the plan was for Rachel to stay in the village with Yuma and wait for Sam to get there. And so how do you know that after, you know, even the big guy burned to death. The big guy? You don't even say his name. Really. They're all dead. Rachel, you're the only one left. Rachel's lips turned gray. The top of her furs shook before her eyes. That's not true. Melanie needs to suffer. I had to do it. Will he kill me? No, it's not possible. I want to save my friends, and I will save them. No. Lord Cliff. Oh, I almost ran out of time on that one. But Rachel wouldn't kill him. That's number one. She, not say she didn't have it in her. She just, it wouldn't be her first thought. You know what I mean? I don't remember what the other choice was, but run away. No, that's not. Where? You know? I can't overtake or defeat him. Apparently he's a fucking ghost, so he would catch me anyway. Can't overtake or defeat him, but if I push him over the cliff, I'll have a good chance. I just hope I don't fall over the cliff. Oh no. What it said, I got a chance on what's his name. Dylan looked at her with a mixture of determination and compassion, and he reluctantly took a step forward. You'll be the last one, and when everyone else is dead, she will die too. A strange squeak escaped from Rachel's chest, stifled and pathetic. She swayed forward and grabbed a stick, reached for his throat, grabbed him by the jacket. I don't... Sway forward, grab the jacket. Oh, okay. And pull stepping back, It was only a step away from the cliff. Dylan staggered and waved his hand. Stubbornness and fear flashed across his face. Is he afraid of dying too? Or does he just want to finish his job first? Dylan grabbed her hand and pulled her away from the cliff. He drew the girl to him with an almost affectionate gesture. His fingers gently grabbed her throat and squeezed. Rachel grabbed his forearms and began clawing at his jacket, grasping for breath. Tears flowed from her eyes and right on his bare wrist. I really don't want this. This is how it has to be. Otherwise, nothing will work. Shut the fuck up. Rachel wheezed, struggling desperately, trying to reach his face with her nails. Her moves quickly became more and more sluggish and accurate. Her body became heavier, sagged, and Dylan opened his palm, letting it fall to the ground. With a sound, Rachel's body slid off the edge of the cliff and plummeted down. What the actual fuck? I had hoped that the others, but I don't see how she makes it out of that one. I don't know, guys. Hold on, I need a break. Okay, I took a break. Let's continue. Oh my god. There was already nothing to breathe. You were hanging in a vacuum, your lungs shrank to the size of a walnut. Dylan was watching you closely, sitting on the animal skin in front of the chair. The blood was buzzing in your head with the voices of your friends. They are smiling at you, fading in the darkness. Relationship with all your friends is improved. They stood before your eyes, smiling, brave, and so dear. They were there when your house was on fire. I always calculate the risk. Do you? No matter how smart and experienced you think you are, you can still lose. I'm gonna need you not to burn my pictures. They didn't abandon you for a minute when guilt from murder was tearing your soul apart. My eyes, having seen all, came back to the white chrysanthemums. Don't be afraid. I will always be there. I won't leave you anymore. I supported you when it seemed that everything was lost. I like you, Melody. You're decisive, courageous, smart. You don't get it yet, but you made my life so much more exciting, brighter. They bravely stood by your side when fate bared its teeth. I don't want grandmother to kill me if you die. Cross like a kitty here. Put your hands up like it's a paw. And never, never retreat it. If you don't feel like it, then don't. But if you do, I'll be around. If you're a fairy and want to take my soul, show me where to sign. And now you become a little more merciful. You shook your head. It's just the words of a stranger to you. It's not true. Dylan squatted in front of you and whispered, now you're ready to die. But you won't die tied up like an animal. You will get up and try to fight for your life. What kind of fucking sense does that make? That's so stupid. Like, hey, what if I actually succeed? And like, what was it, like a trial by combat? Like, what if I actually succeed in killing you? A. Or B. More likely, like, you're way stronger and way more trained than her anyway. Like, it's not a competition. You pulled the knots on both of your hands. It's just, you're so, yeah. Loosen the rope and step back. You didn't manage to catch Dylan off guard. Would I ever have managed to catch Dylan off guard? You immediately jumped up, diligently instructing your stiff hands. Tell me if you managed to catch him off guard. I don't see how. He's bigger and stronger than me. A fight? You're just toying with me, right? Quickly assessing the situation, you grabbed a bottle from the table and slammed it sideways onto the floor. The bottle exploded with a satisfying crash, leaving a sharp-edged neck in your hand. Dylan burst out laughing at your threatening pose. Now you have a weapon. Wonderful. And with one swing, he knocked you to the floor. Your ears were ringing as you fell. You managed to hit Dylan's leg. The young man grabbed his leg, swearing profusely. You, breathing heavily for some reason, put the bottle in your pocket and crawled to the fireplace. You put the bottle in your pocket, the bottle piece, and crawled to the fireplace. Okay. For the kettle? At least now our chances are almost equal. He got up and headed towards you, trying not to lean on the wounded leg too much. His eyes were sparkling with anger and pleasure. Great. He gets off on hurting people. Absolute sadist. Barely stumbling over a box on the floor, you ran to the chest of drawers. Okay, there's a box on the floor. Dylan jumped after you, grabbing a bottle from the floor, and swung. Response, you grabbed a lamp, blocked with your hands, grabbed another bottle. We're not gonna have a bottle fight. Try the lamp. Glass clinked against glass, but the metal handle of the lamp protected your fingers from the shards. Dylan screamed, unclenching his fingers. From the small pieces of glass strewn across his skin, many small scratches were revealed. You won this round. Alright guys, so I took a break to go and visit with family, and somehow when I came back, all my progress was gone. I was back on episode 9, so I had to replay episode 9 and 10 and get all the way through episode 11. So here we are, many hours later. Like, I left at like 2, it's 11 p.m. at night. We're gonna finish this today, okay? So, we'll start this fight over again. Okay, here we go. Toying with me. We'll assess the situation. Okay, let me try to get reacquainted with the battlefield here. So, I got a bottle. I got a chunk. I think we like slashed him within his leg. Alright. Okay. He was being really sadistic. I staggered back, put my hand, swing at his leg. We'll go with the leg. So we'll go sweep the leg. A strange intimate squeak flowed from your mouth. That didn't happen first before, so I'm guessing it's varied. You swung your foot trying to hit the wounded leg, but Dylan definitely pulled it aside. Oh, I might have messed up. He gladly looked at you in the eyes while you scratched his shoulders and neck. And then suddenly he let go, and you let go of you, and he would step back a little. You lost this round. Okay, I've already fucked up. Sick bastard. Okay, I ain't paying more attention. Okay, let me try to get back focused. Okay. Grasping at your throat and breathing heavily, you staggered sideways. Pursing his lips into a thin, angry line, Dylan pushed you right into the fireplace. You waved your hands, grabbing at the edge, the painting, the fireplace. Painting? I don't know. Throwing your hands up, you caught on the upper edge of the fireplace. Angry, you reached even higher and grabbed at the edge of the rickety painting. The old cord it was hanging on instantly snapped, and the picture flew into Dylan's head. Okay, that sounds good. Surprised does not even dodge. Only the last moment did he lean slightly to the side. You won. Okay. So I lost 1-1-1. Hopefully there's like 3, like best 2 out of 3. You saw his shoulder go up in pain. That was a good sign. You circled the room, trying not to stumble over chairs and bottles. And smiling, Dylan pulled out a knife and casually lunged forward. He lunged forward. What do I got? Second before that, you grabbed a book, a poker. A poker has a longer reach? The metal rod in your hand filled you with confidence. Swinging it up, you hit Dylan in the fingers holding the knife. He hissed in surprise and pain. Well, if he's surprised, that's good. The knife flew to the wall. Dylan immediately jumped after it, and with a glance at you, sheathed it. Okay, I won 2 out of 3. I won 2 out of 3. Hopefully that's enough. I still hear the battle music, though, and we haven't finished the fight. Oh, no. And we haven't seen that other one that we saw. You breathing heavily, immediately released the poker, only now realizing how hot it was. Oh, okay. Breathing heavily, Dylan swung his fist at you. Okay. Now what? Staggered back to the wall and fell down, tripped, tore. Tore off the curtain, right? Wouldn't want to fall down or trip. And immediately threw the cloth in the face of the enemy. He tried to brush it aside, but only wrapped it around his hand even more. Angrily shook his hand, carefully shaking off the fabric. I won. Okay. 3 out of 4. But he had already managed to run back a few steps. Dang. He's just playing with me. He hits and lets go as if he doesn't want to. You suffocated from this thought. You don't want to kill me right away. You are enjoying this. That's not true. Oh, fuck, it's not. But his eyes had the opposite. Predatory, bloodshot. They were watching you. Anger rose in you, pushing out both despair and fear. A simple, crystal clear desire to survive rang in your throat. You gritted your teeth and grabbed the kettle from the fireplace. Oh yeah, the kettle. That's finally coming back into play. You got the upper hand in this fight. Weren't you tall as a child enough to play with your food? You ripped the lid off the teapot and waved it towards Dylan. A few drops fell on you and you shuddered. The rest of the water landed on the enemy. He screamed, spreading his fingers. His sweater was soaked, and Dylan jumped in place, trying to pull it away from him. What should you get? Damn you. You should have been playing and fucking around. You shouldn't have to toy with me. You darted on the table for a lonely blade under it. Is the one we dropped? Its handle was thin, smooth, so comfortable. You didn't get your fingers frostbitten and got an advantage in the fight. Okay, that's what I thought. I was like, my fingers weren't frostbitten. You squeezed it tighter, once again thanking the gods for not getting your fingers frostbitten. If they were, I don't know how I would fight. You saw Dylan pull out his own knife again. You're right, enough games. I just want to get it over with. And you struck with one short, precise thrust. You had a great fight with Dylan. You just might survive. Okay, so I won enough rounds. In response, you also threw out your hand, pointing in his face. There's still the fact that we didn't get that logic point, though. Your blade stuck in his neck above the collarbone. He slid over your wrist, ripping open the thin skin. You screamed at the same second he slashed your other wrist. Both hands were burning with nettle pain. Surprised at yourself, you suddenly kicked Dylan's wounded leg with all of your might. He screamed, fell to his knee, then to his side, clutching at his bloody leg. And you, without wasting time, ran to the door, opened it, and ran out into the snow. Too bad I didn't have time to grab some of those bandages on the table. That would have set me up nice, instead of running outside into a blizzard. So storm has subsided significantly. All the gloomy snowfall hastily covered the forest with snow. Why is it loading? It's not the end of the episode. Surely. Okay. You ran. There were no footsteps from behind. The open mouth of the doorway remained empty. Dylan didn't follow you. I kind of wanted to make sure that he's dead, but at the same time, it's more important to get away, I think. You slowly wandered along the snowy trail. Your head was spinning, your mouth was dry. Unfortunately, we were leaving a red blood trail right behind us. Blood oozed from your wrist onto the white snow, leaving a trail of drops behind you, so I thought. You wanted to sit down for a while to catch your breath. You went along the shore of the lake, shortening the way a little. We might want to rip off a piece of our sweater if possible and wrap it around our wrist to stop the blood flow. Step by step towards the hotel, away from this madness. Under the snow, you did not notice the icy stone that cunningly lay under your foot. Oh my gosh. Your foot slipped and you tried to regain balance. Congratulations. You survived the adventure in Japan. Narrowly avoiding falling, you crouched and grabbed the very stone that you just slipped on. Oh no, you don't. No, I will not give up. Not now, not at the last minute. I'll get to the hotel. I will find my friends. I will survive. Gritting your teeth, you pulled yourself up. Well, at least we survived, but I don't know about my friends. I feel like I did everything I could. The blood has almost stopped dripping from your slashed wrist. Sucking in the frosty air through your nostrils, you went forward. Now the scene with right here by this lake, the picture in the intro with all the blood makes sense. There, behind a strip of forest, the future awaited you, and no one had the right to take it away. A tall firefighter was shouting something to his colleagues. The engines hummed. The snow diligently sprinkled the smoldering remains of the barn. The firefighter threw aside another batch of boards and waved the ambulance. You refused to work with the mafia, but your friendship and the right decision saved Eve. Oh! Wait, working with the mafia also helps determine if she's saved? What? The fragile body of a girl lay among the boards that formed a hut above her head. The medic who ran up kneeled down beside her, then jumped up again and called colleagues. The unconscious body was loaded onto a stretcher, and an oxygen mask covered her face. But she's alive. An elderly doctor looking at her whispered something about a miracle. And Elia? The hatch flew open and the smoke poured into the room twice as fast. However, there was already enough smoke in the basement. It was because of it the young man was lying on the floor, sprawled. The fireman shouted upstairs and the medic ran downstairs first, despite the warning shouts. You refused to work with the mafia, but your friendship and the right decision saved Elia. I didn't know that working with the mafia. Oh my gosh. Okay, so you had to have 3 things, possibly 2 out of 3, I suppose. You had to work with the mafia, have a good friendship, and make the correct choices. Dude, if I didn't make the correct choices, they would have died, even if I was friends with them. That's wild. He turned the huge body over, put a mask. Friendship saving the fucking day. He turned the huge body over, put a mask on the man's gray lips, and began to unbutton his jacket. The man groaned, coughed with an effort, trying to get up. The medic shouted sternly at him and pushed him in the chest, dropping him to the floor. There's a girl. Did you find a girl? And he's still trying to save Eve. Through the basement window, he saw a firefighter lifting a fragile figure in his arms. Then he closed his eyes and lost consciousness. Oh, he just wanted to know if Eve was okay. That's so... Oh, Sam. An ambulance rushing along the road braked sharply in front of the crumpled car. The medics jumped out of it, cursing. They had to hurry, but how could they just drive by? You did absolutely everything to save your boyfriend. Wait, but... I did absolutely everything, but is he saved? But I said I did everything. What is the everything, though? Having run the car, friendship, right choices... Is there another component? Having run the car, they rushed to the driver's seat. There, in the snow at the door, a young man was sitting, breathing hard. He's still breathing. He pressed his palm to his right shoulder. Seeing the doctors, he jerked up, reached up, trying to get up. Oh my gosh. I'm fine. You're not convincing anybody you're fine looking like that, Sam. Get into the hospital. And then collapsed back out of exhaustion, barely breathing. Alexander. Outside, the sounds of sirens were heard, and Manaka, looking out into the empty window opening, exhaled with relief. You did absolutely everything to save your friend. It's okay, Alexander said. They're already here. Now you'll be patched up. I haven't seen her in ages. Alexander exhaled painfully, continued to press the bandage to his bloodied side. Thank you, Manaka. I had nothing to do with it. It could have been worse. Thank you for not passing by and ran into strange sounds. The main thing is that you weren't dead here when I came running. I really think you could have been. Yeah, he could have hit properly, but not like this. His lips turned gray and he closed his eyes, saving strength. Help was already very close. Now, Rachel, I don't understand this one. The blizzard stopped long ago, and even the snowfall gave way, tired of the night vigil. The wind died down, and the cold didn't bite so much, lulled by the snow blanket. Yuma knelt down, holding out his hand. Oh, Yuma came after her. Did absolutely everything to save your girlfriend. Come on then, San. We have to go. Can you? Breaking an arm is not like breaking a leg. I'll manage somehow. I'm surprised she only broke a freaking arm. I'm also surprised that Yuma came after her. She held on firmly, but her pallor betrayed the pain that she had to endure. Traces of Dylan's cruel fingers begin to turn blue on her throat. Leaning on Yuma, Rachel walks slowly towards the hotel. It was already very close. That's everybody. We saved all our friends! Unlike in Heaven's Secret. The door swung open as if from a blow. Several people ran into the room, pistols raised. Police, everyone stay put. This guy again. The investigation succeeded and Dylan was arrested. Please don't let him break out of freaking jail like he wants to. Dylan silently got up from the rocking chair, calmly raising his hands up. Dylan Boston, you're under arrest on attempted murder charges. Attempted? Dylan just held out both hands to him, interrupting his speech. Put on your handcuffs, officer. I'm ready. I remember this spot. A few months later, today, even the trees rustled in a special way. Choose the final outfit in the story. We made it, guys. Your feet were tickled by the wind. You can wear a black dress. I was trying to mourn. Red dress. This was like the dress at the end of the episode in season 2. Or no, at the beginning of season 2. Right? I don't know. But we're probably wearing that. White dress. Boom, we're getting married. Let's be fancy. Ah, a knotty strand fell on your face and you thoughtlessly brushed it aside. You expected your hair to look like those. Ooh, we're getting a hairpiece. Okay. Housewife, lady, Miss Harris. Interesting. I actually like the Miss Harris. Do you think, Dante and Eliza will come back? Because they made a comment as if they would come back at some point. I kind of like this one. This one's also sweet. I kind of like this one. A real housewife. Kind of like this one too, though. It's very sweet and simple. Let's go with this one. I want to raise this glass to those who have gathered here today who are not here with us today. I'm gonna think that everybody's here. We didn't lose anybody. To you, Eve. The ghost saluted the already half-filled glass in agreement. To you, Elia. The giant kindly lifted a piece of meat on a fork. To you, Sam. Sam smiled, squinting into the sun and raised his glass. He looked sideways at Alexander and chuckled good-naturedly. To you, Rachel. The girl smiled modestly, shaking the glass of juice in her fingers. To you, Alexander. The man raised his glass in agreement, clinking it against Sam's glass along the way. He grunted. And for you, Frederick, Dante, and Eliza. Oh, Dante and Eliza came. Who's Frederick? Oh, was that the guy that we suspected in the beginning of the first season? But Dante and Eliza came back. Today is a day of remembrance. The day we can afford to be sad and to cry for the lost. I've heard the phrase, time heals, many times. Only now do I understand what a lie it is. It's not time that heals. It's therapy, rest, work, books, love. Time. Time only takes away those we love. If I could save each and every one in this world, I would. But I'm not omnipotent, alas. I am not omnipotent. You looked into your glass, then waved in the air. To them, to us, to time. All the glasses were raised. The red wine sparkled up mysteriously against the blue sky. Lucas was arrested. That saleswoman who showed us a photo of the documents. She helped us out a lot. The documents themselves were long gone. They didn't find them. Charles or Dylan managed to burn them all. But photos were enough for them to check. We went to the customer on Lucas. Dylan, I heard, still in the asylum. And looks like he'll be staying there for a long time. It's for the best, I guess. I hope Christopher... Let's be nice. Fine. Because he slightly helped, I suppose. I don't know why, but I would like to have at least a semblance of good relations between us. Stupid, I guess. That only happens in Hollywood films. But I'll still try to contact him, even if just take the load off my soul. The wind kicked up the treetops playfully. By evening, it was expected to rain, but so far, rare white clouds drifted across the sky. Sam kissed you on the temple again without interrupting your reasoning. I keep thinking sometimes, could we have done something differently? Turn this wheel differently. You ended the story in Sam's arms. Yay! We got the Sam ending, and we saved all of our friends. Yes. Okay. So even though we missed that logic point, we still managed to pull out a win. I think he would have gotten to us anyway. A little earlier, a little later. Could you not have gone back to the house back then? You thought for a while, then shook your head. I thought about that many times, and I guess I knew where and why I was going. Subconsciously, I was ready for that. I'm just so tired. I wanted to solve this once and for all, even if it meant death. A shiver ran over his shoulders. He shook it off in annoyance. You're alive. You will live. I don't want to hear about death anymore. You cocked your head back, looking up at him. What are we going to do now? How are we going to live on? Build a business? Be in love? Be friends? Make children? Right now? He snorted, wrinkling his nose funny. No, but someday. For sure. He thought about it and then casually dropped it. Tell me, if I offered you, in theory, to become my wife, would you agree? Let's see. In theory? In theory. Probably, yeah. Yes? In theory. He paused in embarrassment, then scratched his head. Tired of watching his torment, you burst out laughing. I'll marry you. I like you. Well, then it was not in vain that I brought it with me. Said panic. Sam, you said theoretically. Well, what? Did I carry with me for a month for nothing? Do you see, do you agree? You hopelessly dropped your hands, looked into his eyes, and laughed. Yes, I agree. With a ring on your finger, Sam hugged you. I love this music. Hold up. Let's take a minute. It's beautiful. You press against each other like two flowers intertwined in the stem. His kisses fall on your cheeks, forehead, cheekbones, eyes, and lips. And he whispered to you that this is the happiest day of his life. But he was wrong. There were many such happy days ahead of you. That's the Heaven's Secrets. Annette? Annette put out her hand and plunged into a plump cloud like cotton. Trying not to scream. My daughter's asleep. What the fuck? As soon as I saw the swirl, I was like, Heaven's Secret. The story was already intertwined with Heaven's Secret. They already started it. So we already established that those angels and demons are correlated with this specific earth and this timeline. Oh, yeah, that's already established. Oh, that's sick. I didn't think they would bring that back again. Talk about two of like the most controversial matriarchs, mother figures, really. Both Rebecca and Annette are both pieces of work. It's so fitting. They're nearly the same person. She's quite something. As I told you, this is not her last move. Surviving is only the first step. Then she will march towards prosperity. The Seraphim's cold eyes looked up and to the left. It's time. You will still have time to come back and look at her. Annette took one last look down, strained her wings, and flapped them with all her might. She became an angel. To keep up with the Seraphim, she had to fly very fast. The Romance Club team congratulates you on reaching the end of this story. Wow. go ahead and give it up for the team. Overall, it was a good story. It was a good story. Yeah, it has some tumbles here and there, and I wasn't impressed by all of the villains, but oh shit, I missed it. Overall, I'm very happy that our actions could lead to actually saving our friends. That last episode was super action-packed, and it was long. Trust me, I had to replay it a couple times. It was long. Okay. Oh, and the final picture is who you end up with. Oh. I forgot about that. Guys, it's kind of almost like our journey here. You know, the will, the documents, burnt house, friendos along the way, danger. What do you end up with? Oh yeah, because this is the last pen, this is where it ends. See, yeah, it all started with the stupid will, then, yeah. Okay. Alright. Let me watch this ad, if it'll let me. It crashed. You saw it. And do not tell me, hold up. Do not tell me I lost my progress and they're gonna make me do those episodes over again. But you saw it. Even though I have to do those episodes over again, we're done with that part, okay? Only we're doing is restarting the whole story and playing with somebody else. Complete it. Complete it. So I can restart season 3 or go back to season 1. What do I want to restart from season 2? All right. Yeah, overall it was a really good story. Yeah. It's great, yeah. When you think about the whole picture, it even makes season 2 more bearable. Even though it was still ridiculous. But thinking about the whole picture, I still overall, it was a worthwhile read. I definitely think it's a worthwhile read. Not painful to get through. Because yeah, once season 3 kicked off, season 1 was great. It was pretty fun. But once season 3 kicked off, then it became pretty awesome. So I think it makes up for season 2. Because not all of season 2 was bad. Like, there were some good moments in season 2. So this is really interesting. Okay. Let's do a vote. Here's this. If you made it this far, then you get to decide. Help me decide. Who should we play next? Which person from the story should we go after next? I'll leave that up to you guys. I did want to explore some of the other relationships. Now that I'm catching up on stories, I feel like I have a better handle on getting around to recording again. Because I can do a lot more during the weekend, so this is great. I think I'm getting kind of a rhythm. So, yeah. I'm almost to the point where I'm just going to finish up some of the other stories and then do some replay value for some of these stories. And so I want to know who you guys would like to see next. So we can, just any of the characters really. All the allies, there's none of them that I just refuse to play. So, yeah. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and end this part right here. Thank you guys so much for watching and joining me on this Chasing You journey. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, go ahead and share, like button, some love, subscribe to see more content like this, and I will see you next time. Bye.
Rivers run dry, dust breaths in the air. 2 dark days, do you have a tear to spare? Make a promise, the world awaits. It's heavy, just breathe.